Hello everyone, my name is Tiara Elvira Natania Putri Hermawan. I am from UKRIDA, the Faculty of Humanoria, Department of English from batch 2022.
And my name is Angelita Yang from the Faculty of Humaniora Department of English from batch 2022.
Today, me and my partner were going to share some information about multilingualism, code switching, and code mixing. First, I'm going to explain about what is multilingualism. So, a multilingual is a person who has the ability to use 3 or more languages, either separately or in a various degrees of mixing, and the term of polyglot. For those who don't know, polyglot is a person who is able to use several languages and sometimes used to describe multilingual individuals. And now, let's move into the code switching.
Secondly, I'm gonna talk about characteristic of code switching. In this case, an entire clause or sentence is in one language, but the speaker switch to another language for a subsequent clause or sentence. This word sentence is quote from Deliana and Rohani Ghani, 2019. In the next part, there are several types of code switching. The first one is intrasentential code switching. This code switching within the clause or sentence, and in this case, the speaker may switch part of clause, lexical item, or even morpheme. Example like, I will speak Ando with Steve the other day. Speaker used the Spanish progressing morpheme Ando rather than using the English ing. And the second type of code switching is intersentential code switching. Yes, it's not intrasentential but intersentential code switching. This code switching happens between the clause or sentence boundary. And in this code switching, an entire clause or sentence is in one language, but the speaker switches to another language for a subsequent clause or sentence. And also this type of code switching is not limited. The example is like, last week aku shopping dengan sisterku, that's why aku nggak di rumah. Okay, the next one is text switching. This is simply an interjection, a tag, or sentence filler in the other language which serve as an ethnic identity marker. Example like confiscated by custom, takai, which means probably this is switch between English and Cantonese Chinese. And that's all for code switching. Now we're gonna move into another topic, which is code mixing.
What are the characteristics of code mixing? Code mixing is about a situation where one language is mixed with another language. The mixing of language can be in a word, phrase, clause, and sentence form. So let's jump into the types of code mixing.
Then, these are the type of code mixing. The first one is intrasentential mixing. Occurs within a phrase, clause, or sentence boundary. An example is from Wardau, estaba training para pelear, which means in English, he was training to fight. The second code mixing is called intralexical code mixing. So, this code mixing occurs within a word boundary, like in shopa, which means English shop with the Punjabi plural ending. And the third Code mixing is involving a change of pronunciation. This means that this code mixing occurs at phonological level when Indonesian people say an English word, but the word is modified to Indonesia phonological structure. So it's like the word strawberry, Indonesian people call it strawberry.
What are the reasons for the multilingual language users to switch and mix the code? The concept of code was putting forward and was defined as any system of signals, and code is a natural term such as dialect, language, style, and pidgins, which may arouse emotions. In code can be used to refer to any kind of system that two or more people employ for communication. And when the two people communicate with each other in speech, the system of communication that they employ is a code. So therefore, whenever people speak to each other, they are required to select a particular code, and they also may decide to switch from one code to another code, and sometimes in very short utterance.
At last, the factor that support the practice of code switching and code mixing by the multilingual. So, the code switching and the code mixing for multilingualism are the competencies of the speaker ability to choose a language according to the other person, like the topic of conversation, besides expressing the speaker's ability to change language in an interactional order according to socio-linguistic rules and without violating certain grammatical constraints. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much for listening, and goodbye.